You just heard Journey with Open Arms right here on Radio Nova 106.7 FM, playing the music you want to hear. And as I promised before, we have Randi Miller, a lady who competed for the United States in a 2008 Olympic bronze medalist at 63 kilograms, making a very, very special guest appearance on Radio Nova. Randi, how are you?
I am well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules for making a guest appearance.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
As you know, with all the hubbub going on, the IOC dropped wrestling for 2020, and we're past stage one, that were the final three sports to come back. Where were you initially when you got the news?
I joined the Army about 6 months ago. And I heard about it while I was in there. I was pretty upset about it.
You had to beat Sarah McMahon, Olympic silver medalist from the 2004 games, to even make the team in 2008. How was that? Was that a pretty big challenge in front of you?
It was one of my biggest challenges in my life up to date, having to wrestle her and make the team. As you know, Sarah McMahon's an amazing wrestler and an amazing fighter, so the years leading up to the Olympics, there was a lot of wrestling back and forth with her and I, and it was definitely one of my biggest challenges in wrestling.
One of the things that I've asked every single wrestler that I've brought on is, what can we do right now to keep so we are heard, and then we are going to be that sport in 2020 to come back?
You know what? I'm having horrible service. I did not hear that question. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I've asked every single wrestler who's come on, what can we do as a nation to stand up and be heard, that we can be that final sport come September? I think we lost her, so we're going to get back to the music right here on Radio Nova. You just listened to REO's Speedwagon, Keep on Loving You, and we have Randi Miller back on the line. Randi, sorry about that.
Oh, no. Sorry about that.
All right, what I asked before we lost you is, what can we do as a nation to stand up to make sure we're heard, that we can get wrestling back in 2020?
Well, you know, it's already gone through some votes, and it made it back in the first round of votes, and it's got to go through another round of votes and win that one too. And I think what everybody's doing is really helpful, just getting the word out there on Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr, and just getting out there saying that they love wrestling and to save it, and I think that's the best way to go about it.
One of the things that that Matt Valenti, another person that I brought on, he thinks that, or believes that, women are going to be a pioneer to help get this back in, because the IOC is looking for gender equality, more opportunities, and so forth. How do you feel about that?
I think that female wrestling is helpful in that way, because the IOC, I guess, looks at every sport and makes sure it's has their equal numbers of females versus males, and wrestling is not quite equal, but there's a good share of women, and then that is something that they look at. I do think it's helpful.
Another point that was brought up, the IOC did not think about, is all the youth that are being affected, because if these kids don't want to compete for Olympic gold, why should they stick in wrestling?
Right. You know, I really do hope they bring it back. Wrestling is a great sport, especially at those younger ages when you're developing the kind of person you want to be as an adult. Wrestling for me was a big part of that, and developed me into the person I am. So I hope I would hope they would bring it back to keep the interest at those younger ages. But if not, I hope that kids still stay very involved with their wrestling.
What has wrestling done for you personally?
Personally, it grew me up as a person. It made me learn accountability and discipline and all those things that your parents try to teach you, but you really don't quite learn it until you go through something. And for me, my going through something was wrestling. Trying to be a good wrestler taught me all those values that my parents were trying to teach me.
You are originally from Texas, and I believe you're one of the first women to win an Olympic medal. and now you're with the Army. Tell us how you could plan to continue with your career.
Well, business as usual. I just gonna train hard and be disciplined and continue on the path.
One of the things that I've always tried to tell these kids is just grab another friend or talk up wrestling. What would you, if you could tell the youth one thing right now, for all the many people that are listening, what would you tell them?
Stick with wrestling. Wrestling's a great sport. Stick with it. It's tough, it's rough, but it's a great sport.
I've been wrestling for many years, many injuries and stuff like that. What like, if you could explain, how can I put this? Travell Delogdev says that wrestling is a gateway not for only young men and young women, but it's going to transform these people into the people that for our future. What do you feel about that?
I agree. As I was saying before, wrestling's one of those sports where it forces you to grow up. It doesn't begin or end on the mat. Wrestling is something that kind of takes over your life. You have to be disciplined. You have to eat the right things. You got to get to bed on time, or else you're not gonna be as effective as you want. And there's no one to blame. It's an individual sport. The only pointing fingers that you can do is at yourself at the end of the day if you don't have the results that you want. And that alone, that accountability, learning that at 14, 15, and 16 is huge.
Another thing that has been going around is the new rules. Back in 2008, you were wrestling the old rules with the 3 periods and ball draw. Have you gotten to wrestle the new rules yet?
I have not been able to wrestle the new rules yet. I can't wait. I think the new rules are awesome.
With the new rules, with going back to like the 2004 games, do you believe this is going to make it easier for people to follow wrestling and keep up with scoring and say, oh, this person scored, maybe this person scored last? How many periods do they have apiece?
I think there's certain things that are easier to understand with the new rules, and there's certain things that aren't as easy to understand with the new rules. And I think, though, even whether the rules change or not, wrestling is an interesting sport at the end of the day. Who doesn't enjoy seeing a fight? So I think the sport itself brings a certain amount of interest if you're into combative sports, but I do think probably the same amount of people will be confused and the same amount of people would understand.
We have an email coming in from Patricia, and she wants to know, how has the Army helped you along with your wrestling career?
Well, I just joined the Army 6 months ago, and the main thing I think that I learned from the Army that I'm going to bring to my wrestling, that there is enough time in the day to do anything you need to get done. Any and everything you need to get done. You just got to get up and do it. You don't have to put restrictions on yourself to wake up at a certain time or get to bed at a certain time. If you need to take 10 hours to get everything you need done for your sport, then that's what you'll take. And that's what the Army has taught me.
You wanted to do a little giveaway. We're going to give away a pair of Cradle Gear shorts. We have a little trivia question. You want to take over?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What did you say?
You wanted to do a giveaway, and we have some trivia for you guys.
Oh, yeah. The trivia question, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I get to deliver the question?
Of course.
Oh, yay. Okay, my question to listeners out there, who was the first female to earn an Olympic medal?
All right, guys, be the 10th person to email me at dj@radionova-castablanca.com. The question is, who was the first female to bring home to the United States an Olympic medal? All right, do you got anything else for us, Randy?
Nope, none on this end.
All right, we want to thank you so much for making a guest appearance. If we need you again, will you take another call to make an appearance on Radio Nova?
Of course.
All right, well, guys, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors, then we're going to get back to the music right here on Radio Nova.
Nobody has more power than Nova. Playing the music you want to hear. Casanova. Music from the 80s to the present day. Great atmosphere. Relaxing lounge area. Available for private hire.